They want us down, says Nuno. But are we just not going to relegate ourselves with the way we're playing currently? Welcome to the post-match, I don't know, my thoughts and review on it. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys have been able to get some sleep, and welcome to the post-match thoughts. So it's probably going to be a bit of a rant, I'll warn you now. There's a lot of things I'm getting seriously frustrated and annoyed about, including some of the rhetoric from our own fan base as well, and from our players, and from Nuno. So there's a lot to cover off in today's video. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And you've only got a couple of hours to grab the final few tickets for this signed framed Forest home kit. And remember, if you hit ticket number 28, you will get an insta win of a Danilo signed shirt who was absolutely crap yesterday. But let's get into this. Now, I want to start with the red card stuff. Look, I am always one. You guys know me by now. If there is corruption, if there is BS in the Forest match, I'm the first to call it out. I'm the first to say corrupt Premier League, brown envelopes and all that. But I'm not going to on this one. Now, the incident itself happened in the 67th minute. Some will argue that 10 men for 20 odd minutes, well, call it 25, 28 minutes with injury time, Forest may have found themselves back in the game. I am telling you now, they could have gone down to 9 men and we wouldn't have scored. The players had no desire. The players had, their attitude was wrong towards the game. The setup, we'll talk about the formation and things in a minute, was not the right one. And they could be playing now and there still be no goals. And that's the problem with this one. Yes, it was a wrong call, but this isn't like the Liverpool call. This isn't like the Bolly getting sent off early in the first half. This isn't like the penalty against Newcastle. Those were all key decisions that would have changed the outcome of a game. Forest would have definitely got a point against Liverpool. Forest would most likely have got 3 points against Newcastle. And Forest probably wouldn't have lost against Bournemouth because we still took the lead in Nuno's first game against them with 10 men. In this game, I can see it. I could see it. Forest were not at the races whatsoever. And maybe it would have made a difference. But it wasn't like we were at 0-0 or we were winning. We were already losing. And let's be honest. Apart from West Ham, Forest have played against 10 men on like a dozen times this season. And we have failed to score against 10 men in all those instances. So what kind of barometer are people using to say that Forest would have scored against 10 men away at Brighton, where our away track record is still crap? So for me, logically speaking, this game, if people, and I'm annoyed at Nuno for it, because I feel he's hiding behind this red card thing. This is not the reason Forest lost the game. The reason was they didn't play football. They didn't get on that pitch to play football. They were playing way too deep, man. That was Cooper ball yesterday. That was Cooper low block ball, and it is not acceptable. So for me, yes, it should have been a red card, but this is not a game-changing decision. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so let's move on to the second point. And again, this is starting to bug me as well. Well, the point I'll make in a second is bugging me. Look, Nuno got it wrong again. This is the second away game in a row where I feel he's got it wrong. We talked about it before the kickoff about the team didn't look that balanced. Yates and Danilo in the middle just scared me. It didn't look like a balanced 6 and 8 for me at all. He got it wrong against Villa as well with Niakate at left back. So that's back-to-back games where he's making managerial errors. I thought in the second half, Forest were a lot better. Well, not a lot better, but a lot more balanced. And I think the game plan, and I said this on the watch along and the player ratings, was that Forest were trying to make sure that Brighton would be knackered out because of their game against Roma on Thursday in the Europa Cup. And he was saving Elanga and Hudson-Odoi and the pace merchants, etc. for the second half when they were knackered. The problem was, even when they came on, we looked like the knackered team. We were a team that hadn't played in 7 or 8 games. And Brighton, who had played 2 or 3 days ago, were completely comfortable. My biggest issue isn't that he gets tactics wrong or lineups wrong or whatever, because we're looking at it with hindsight. My biggest frustration at the moment, and I don't know if it's Nuno's fault or if it's the player's fault, in the last 5 to 10 minutes, including injury time, when Forest are behind, we never feel like we're threatening their goal, like we're sending in a barrage on their goal, like throw the kitchen sink, let's lose 2-0, trying to get a 1-1 draw. It never feels like that. The attitude of the players and the application of the kind of never say die attitude is not there with Forest. And that's what frustrates me. There's so many games that you just feel taper out and the energy's gone from them. And you just don't feel, maybe it's just me, how do you guys feel? But I never feel when we're 1-0 behind with a few minutes to go that we're really going to put a good sustained amount of pressure on the opposition team to force them into a goal. Sometimes you felt it. I used to feel it in the championship season where we came up, or the promotion season, should I say, that even when Forest went behind, you still felt that we were going to force a goal over the line, would suck the ball in from the Trent end or whatever. Now, I know that's the Championship and this is the Premier League, but you see that even this weekend, you look at Luton against Palace, who Luton and Palace were both not that great, but you just always felt Luton would keep going to that final whistle and eventually they were rewarded. Thanks again, Henderson, for that one. And that's what's missing from this team, is this desire to never say die. This is it now. We've got 10 games. You could say technically 9 because we've still got Man City to come. There's 27 points up for grabs. The style of the football now doesn't matter. The performance doesn't matter. All that matters is these points coming on the pitch. Now, the thing that is annoying me is the Cooper cultists are still there. I told you guys they would be there. They are still there and they are gagging and waiting for results like this and performances like this. You know, they're saying, oh, under Cooper, we would have been able to low block our way to a draw. Look what happened last year, 0-0, boring match, but we got a point in the same fixture. I am telling you now, if Cooper had not been sacked, we would be sitting down there with Sheffield and Burnley on the same points or lower than them. Because do you really think Cooper would have beat Newcastle away from home? Do you really think Cooper could have beaten Manchester United at home? Look how he played against West Ham in his fixtures. Okay, he got a 1-0 win last year against them, but I don't think he would have beaten that West Ham team either. He would have shown them too much respect. I can't see in any of the games we've had since Cooper's been sacked which games people think Cooper would have won that Nuno did or didn't win. That's the point here. So if you are a Cooper cultist or you want Cooper back in, well, one, it's never going to happen. But secondly, tell me where you think these points are that have been dropped. Do you think Cooper would have got something out of Liverpool last week? Do you think Cooper would have beat Newcastle at home or away? That's the bit I can't compute. If there was evidence to it, then I'd understand it. Look at the slump we were in under Cooper before he got sacked. 1 win out of 13 or 14 games. For me, the biggest mistake of this season was that Cooper was sacked too late. Nuno has been stop-start, AFCON, FFP, PSR, injuries, whatever. He should have been in earlier. Now, granted, he wasn't available till November, but that would have still been a month and a half extra we would have had of him. The one critique I have of Marinakis this year is that he cracked under the pressure of the fans to keep Cooper in. Because why? I'll tell you why. Because I guarantee you that every club that was in the Premier League last season that survived or stayed up or is thinking of relegation battle looked at Sheffield, looked at Burnley and looked at Luton and thought they're going straight back down. We can have a consolidation year this year. We can experiment a little. And no one thought that Luton would dig in and be able to pull out the points that they have. And now we're being caught out of it. Everton are being caught out of it. Brentford as well. Potentially Bournemouth and Palace. Teams are starting to panic. So Nuno is still the right man for this. Nuno can still get this right. But now the pressure is ramped so high on this Luton match. This is, I don't know, maybe I'm going over the top. But for me, this is the same importance, this game coming up, as the playoffs when we came up. Because if we potentially could go into this Luton game behind them, if they beat Bournemouth, there's some rumours that the the PSR, charges will be announced before the Luton game so that both teams know where they stand going into the game. How true that is, I don't know. I know 15th of April is the cutoff point. Kind of logically makes sense. But this game is going to be huge. And if we are behind Luton, we could, if the the PSR charges haven't been announced and Luton beat Bournemouth, Forest could be behind them on goal difference. If that happens and they announce the PSR charges, and let's say it's 6 points, Forest will be 6 points behind Luton. And if we lose that game to them on Saturday, we will be 9 points adrift from Luton. Let that sink in. 9 points potentially behind Luton. That at that point, hit the panic button. We've gone from potentially had Forest won yesterday and Luton had lost to Palace, we would have been 7 points clear. We could be 9 points behind them. What are your thoughts on that? Okay, let me continue on with the stuff that's frustrated me. Firstly, I want to say I actually thought Mbamidele in general was okay yesterday. But this isn't about him. This is about the same old stories, the same old issues. I would much rather Nuno came out in his presser after the match yesterday and kicked off, not about VAR or red cards or anything, but kicked off about the players and the constant goals we concede from dead ball situations. Are they being like smoke screened by these VAR things and these penalties or red cards or whatever the complaint of the week is that we currently have? And are they completely ignoring the blatant, clearest fact that we are absolutely crap at dead ball situations at both ends of the pitch? We're conceding them left, right and centre, game in, game out almost from dead balls, and we can't put anything in at the other end. One goal we've got in recent memory for me is the goal against Villa when we were already 3-0 down or whatever it was at the time from a corner. We got a free kick yesterday on the edge of the box when Callum Hudson-Odoi was fouled, and I offered 50 gifted subs if that went in. That's how confident I was. It was in a perfect position just outside the box on the left-hand side of the pitch as we were looking at it, and I have zero confidence in Morgan Gibbs-White putting it in. And this is the frustration. Now, we have no dead ball specialist. We had Scarpa. Just having him as a dead ball specialist, I don't still understand why the whole Scarpa thing happened, but let's not go down that road. But why is Morgan Gibbs-White still on these dead balls? What is not being seen by the coaching staff that I'm pretty sure unanimously the fan base would agree his corner deliveries aren't good enough, his dead ball shots on target are not good enough? There has to be someone else who has the ability to kick a ball in a dead ball situation that may challenge for a goal or set up from a corner or something like that. Why is he still on it? This was a problem under Cooper. This is still a problem under Nuno. And Nuno should have spotted this error long ago. Maybe he's trusting the set piece coach. God knows why he's still there. But what have we seen that's been different about it? And if we do not sort this out, not like tomorrow, no, it needs to be sorted out yesterday, we are going to continue conceding. Luton are going to spam our boxes with corners and crosses because that's their style of play. They're like FIFA 17 freaking merchants where they just cross the ball in, looking for a header, looking for a few bubbles in the box. They could have a field day if they play to their wingy game. And that's what I'm expecting to see from them. This needs to be resolved. Now, maybe one of the only ways to resolve this is maybe put Bolly in, because Bolly's at least good at headering a ball away. He does thump a header in. Felipe as well. Maybe that should be the combo for the Luton game. I don't know. I'm just speaking kind of out loud here. I haven't even thought about the team yet. But do we need some competent headerers, some defensively astute and aware players who can just get the ball out because we're going to get barrages of them against Luton. But these mistakes better damn well be addressed before the Luton game, because enough is enough on it. So look, let me bring this to a crescendo for you guys, right? It's not complete doom and gloom, man. I'm honestly seeing pure Forest depression on the timeline, on our comments, on social media and everything like that. So let's bring it back into reality. The reality is there's two teams that Forest are fighting right now. Let's be realistic about it. I'd love Brentford to go down, but the point deduction is going to be a problem there. It's Luton, Forest and Everton. And right now, Forest have got to get their asses ahead of Everton. That is key. The talk of the town is Everton may get a smaller point deduction than Forest will in these next set of charges. So if that's the case, we've got to gap them. But what I will say is there are so many teams in the Premier League with horrific form right now. Brentford, Forest, I'll chuck us in there. Luton, Burnley, Sheffield as well. You got Bournemouth who can't get a win. We've said Everton, I think. We're nearly at Crystal Palace aren't looking that great either. They've had their manager bounce. That's gone. That's already 7 or 8 teams. That's nearly half the goddamn Premier League that is completely and utterly out of form. Forest could and should be already 6, maybe 10 points clear of all this drovel that we dragged ourselves into at the bottom. And I don't expect, my point here is, I don't expect to suddenly see out of those 8 teams, 7 of them find form and go W's all the way to the end of the season. It's never going to happen. Maybe you'll see 3 of them. There's always a team that breaks up and there's always a team that free falls downwards in the Premier League. Even saw it last season. Look what happened to Leicester, etc. and Leeds. So look, Forest have to get determined, they have to get their heads right, and they have to get focused, because all this takes at the bottom of the league is back-to-back wins. You put in back-to-back wins and may I dream 3 wins out of 4, or you go 2 wins, 2 draws and then another win, something solid like that. You will find yourself so clear of this fight. It doesn't take much at all. So the boys have got to get their heads right. They've got to get it wrapped up. And in the cold light of day, Forest lost to Liverpool. We lost to Brighton and we lost to Manchester United. All 3 of these teams are top 7, top 8 teams. Liverpool fighting for the league title. In isolation, you look at it and think these are teams that technically should be beating Forest. But in the grand scheme of things, because we messed up at home against Luton from 2-0. We messed up against Burnley at home. We've messed up against Bournemouth at home. We've messed up against so many of these teams. Now, these games need and become more and more important. So, Forest can do this. Don't give up hope yet. Don't give up hope yet. But this game against Luton is astronomically big. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. We'll see you on Grumpy Old Reds tonight. Come on, you Reds.